This free tool looks at the analytics of over 60,000 Instagram accounts and collates the data to find out whether Instagram reach is up, down, or sideways. This allows you to compare your reach and your analytics so you can work out whether your reach is down because of the algorithm change and it's affecting everyone, or whether it's down because of something that you may have done. This allows you to better find what the problem is, the algorithm or something you've done, and that's going to allow you to better fix the situation so you can get back to reaching a ton of people, growing fast, and building your business. Now, this tool is made by one of my favorite companies, Flick, which I've talked about a ton on the channel. Now, if you have watched the channel for a while, you've probably got an account with them. You can get a free trial for their hashtag tool, which allows you to build your audience and save time, with my link down below. However, for this specific tool, you don't need to log in, you don't need to create an account. It's entirely free and it's just on their website. Let me show you how to use it. So diving into my screen, you're going to be watching my video just like this. And you're going to scroll down, and the top link in the description will be Flick Open Benchmarks, which you're then going to click on straight below this video, and yeah, open benchmarks for Instagram analytics. Finally, you can now uncover how your Instagram analytics compare to accounts just like yours. One thing I will quickly add though is that if you're on your phone looking at your analytics, it's actually called Insights on the Instagram app itself, just in case you missed that. Now, if we scroll down, we can see there's a video from my friend Ben Levitt explaining how to use this. And then this is where the tool starts. As you can see, I'm not signed in, by the way, so it's free to use. And if we go across to all, and so we're looking at the data of all the accounts they're tracking, there's 58,393 Instagram accounts that they've pulled the data from, and then they're creating averages. And you can narrow this down to different categories as well, which is even better. And so now we'll go through some of the cool different features of this that you can run through, different things that you can analyze and look at that will help you improve your results or sort of work out where your standing is. Now, the first one is I'm going to look at accounts of 200K plus followers and look at the follower growth. So we'll narrow this down to last 3 months is fine. The average account of 200,000 plus followers is growing 4.5%, which is actually up 15% over the previous period, which means for my account on Instagram, which is 700 or so thousand followers, for it to grow 4.5%, that would mean about 30,000 followers approximately. Now, if I also pull up my analytics on my phone and I look at my insights on this account, I can take a look at total followers, and we haven't had a great week, only 1,600 followers gained this week. But if we go at the last 90 days, so the last 3 months, we can update that, and we've gained 67,867 followers organically. So we're up 10.2% compared to the average of 4.5%. So that's nice, well above the average there. And you can see the stats of a smaller account, so a 50K to a 100K Instagram account, they averaged 6% growth. So, and then the 25 to 50K accounts, they have averaged 4.7. And you can look at the different ranges to compare it better to your Instagram account. And you'll notice as you start looking at the smaller ranges, there's more data there, which makes it a bit more accurate. So in the 10 to 25K range, there's 5,000 accounts. In the 1,000 to 5,000 range, there is 18,412 accounts. So a lot more accurate data, 5.1% growth. So a lot of accounts grow 5% over 3 months. So if you've gone from 1,000 followers to 1,050 in 3 months, that is the average. Although most of you watching this channel are probably well above the average, I would assume. Because you know what you're doing, you understand Instagram, and you could grow from 1K to 2 or 3 or 4K in a single 3-month period. So we're going to go back to the 200K plus accounts because that's where my main account is for comparing some data. And we're going to scroll down some more. So you can see click-through rates. You can see how many people they reached on average in the last 3 months. So if I pull up my analytics again on my phone and I take a look at accounts reached, so we'll go Insights, and then accounts reached. 17.28 million is the average over the last 90 days. And so we look at the last 90 days on here, we have reached, when it loads, 33 million. So about double the average, once again, which we're pretty happy with. Now, part of that is because I'm probably bigger than the average account in this data set compared to because it's not a percentage, it's a general number compared to follower growth rate, but still pretty happy with that. Now you can also look at the engagement rate. So the average account has got 8.6% engagement. I'm going to be honest with you, I get nowhere near that. I think 1% engagement is pretty solid for us, or pretty average. Now I will say that engagement rates vary massively depending on your niche, because someone that's got the target followers of, say, a 14-year-old that might be on Instagram 24/7 is probably going to get more engagement than someone whose target follower is a busy professional mum who might have a million things that she's got to do and isn't on Instagram as much. You're obviously going to get higher engagement rates. It also depends on how you gained your following, it depends on the relationship with them. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. You can look at your reach rates, what percentage of your audience you're reaching. You can look at the number of posts, and this is actually a really interesting thing. We can see that accounts of 200,000 or more followers average 73.2 posts over the last 3 months. If we change that to accounts with less than 1,000 followers, and we have a look at the data there when it loads, they made 15 posts, which means big accounts compared to smaller accounts are posting 4 times as often. And that there is a great trend to look at. Accounts with lots of followers are posting more, which means if you want to get a lot more followers, you have to post more. Now, some people could definitely make the argument that accounts with more followers are making more of an income, therefore they can give it more of a focus, but you're not going to build a big account unless you put in that effort up front to build the following and get it up there by posting more content. Now, if we go back to the 200k plus followers and we just scroll down here, you can look at average engagement rates per post, average reach per post. You can look at IGTV posts, what numbers are getting, average reach per IGTV post. You can look at your story posts, what the completion rate is. So how many people watch your first story and then also watch your last one. So if you post 5 stories at once, what percentage of people watch all the way through compared to drop off, which shows how interesting your stories are, I guess you could say. The amount of story, the slides per viewer. There's so much data that you can take a look at to compare with to work out what's happening. Like work out, is the Instagram reach dropping? Is that true? Or have I just not been producing the content that is generating reach because it's an ad or it's just about my brand and it doesn't really worry about the end follower? You can also look at the amount of hashtags per feed post. So, and the unique hashtags. So we can see 200k plus follower accounts use on average 17.4 hashtags. And on average, they use 212 unique hashtags, which you can see 17.4, 212. If we change this, let's take a look at what smaller accounts are doing. So 17.4 and 212. Smaller accounts use more hashtags per post and less in total, which means a smaller account might have, by this data, 6 sets of about 20 hashtags. Whereas if we look at the larger accounts, they have got nearly twice as many hashtags they're using across the 3-month period, but less per post. So they might have sets of 17. How many sets of 17 do you get in 212? Maybe 11 or 12. So they've got twice as many hashtag sets, which shows, again, the more different hashtags you're testing, the better your growth will be, because the quicker you can find out what's effective when you're testing faster like this, because they might be testing 3 or 4 different sets of hashtags each month. So over 3 months, you might have 12 sets compared to the other person who's using 1 per month. You get to work out what hashtags are working best really quickly. Now, if you're just using the Instagram app, it's hard to tell what hashtags are getting you what reach. If you're using Flick, their paid tool, link in the description for a free trial, you can actually look at what hashtags you're ranking on and then change them accordingly. So you can test a ton, find out which ones are working, and then create a set with just those, which again, you notice the bigger accounts use more in general to find out what works. And that's sort of all the insights they've got there. Now, if you click through to any of these specific details, so if we take a look at, we'll go up to the top and take a look at the follower growth, you can see detailed insights, which then will show you the overall change. So you can see that the trend of 25k to 50k follower accounts, they were an average of 4.7% growth over the last 3 months, which is actually down 23%. And we can see that over time, it's actually been going lower and lower. So that's the monthly thing. Each month, the growth has actually decreased for these accounts. So they started in January, they had 11,000 accounts they were tracking. They had a slight increase, and then every month, aside from a 0.12% increase, every month they have had a decrease in the amount of growth they're getting. Now, that might be because Instagram's limiting the amount of growth. That might be because the accounts that are growing are becoming bigger, so they're getting out of that bracket, and therefore you're only left with the accounts that aren't growing. There's a lot of reasons behind this that they could be looking at, but down 9%, down 9%, down 7, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3, and it's dropping off a fair bit. Like I say, part of that could be down to the fact that the accounts that know what they're doing and are growing are moving up to the 50 to 100k bracket, or the 100k to 200k. But there's a ton you can take from this, which you can then put back and realize, hey, is my account above the average, below the average? What is reach doing? Is reach up? Is reach down? That'll allow you to work out, is Instagram changing the algorithm, or did I just post something wrong? And then you know that, hey, if Instagram reach is down, you probably don't need to change what you're doing, because maybe it's just down for a few weeks and it's affecting everyone. On the other hand, if you take a look at this and you notice that reach in general is actually up, but your reach is down, maybe it's because of the content that you're posting. Maybe it's because of the way you're interacting with your audience, and you can find a way to improve that to see better results. So I don't want to bore you too much by going into all the specific details of this. You can go around and play around with the tool. Like I said, it's free. There is a link below. If you want to get premium access to Flick and their hashtag ranking tools, then there is also a link below to get a free trial of that. You can also jump on to my newsletter and get access to a ton of free trainings. I've got a whole load of free stuff that I send out there, so you don't want to miss it. There is also a link below to opt in for that. And finally, if you want to work with me to get your results, if you want to become a student or a client, then you can book a call with me down below. We'll have a chat, see how we can help, and go from there.